Today, at the Joint Expeditionary Force Summit in Oslo, the British Prime Minister has unveiled the largest sanctions packet ever levelled at Russia's so-called Shadow Fleet, a clandestine armada of oil tankers designed to fund Putin's war effort, evade Western sanctions and endanger critical infrastructure across the Euro-Atlantic region. This is more than a sanction story. It's a case study in hybrid warfare, conducted not by missiles but by merchant vessels, old and unregulated, some of them with sort of laden with dangerous substances, threatening both environmental safety and global stability. To begin with the context, Western powers imposed sanctions following Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, and Moscow's rerouted a lot of its oil exports through an opaque network of tankers registered in shell jurisdictions, obscuring both ownership and destination. This shadow fleet, up to 100 ships strong, many of which are badly in need of repair, has been sailing under flags of convenience, often uninsured and barely seaworthy. It's moved over $24 billion in cargo since 2024 alone. But this fleet is not simply a commercial workaround, it's a revenue pipeline for Putin's war machine. It enables the Kremlin to defy price caps, to rebrand sanctioned oil, and to generate capital that is funneled directly into Russia's escalated defence budget, now at its highest level since the Cold War. Sir Keir Starmer's announcement today marks a significant shift. For the first time, Britain is deploying sanctions not just against individuals or commodities, but against physical vessels that have, according to the government, both bankrolled aggression and physically endangered critical undersea infrastructure. So dragging their anchor and pulling at cables and things like that. These tankers will be banned from British ports, subject to detention in UK waters, and placed on a public sanctions register, effectively making them pariahs in international shipping markets. The logic is simple. If you can't struggle to strangle the war effort in the battlefield, you cut it off at the bow. And this builds on the December 2024 sanctions against 133 similar vessels. But the new round is broader and more aggressive, reflecting growing alarm over not only the economic circumvention, but also recent sabotage incidents such as the damage to a Baltic Sea cable allegedly involving Shadow Fleet activity. So why now? The Russian economy is teetering. Oil and gas revenues, the lifeblood of the Kremlin, have dropped by over a third. Inflation is surging. The National Wealth Fund is hemorrhaging. Mass bankruptcies loom, and Moscow's ability to wage sustained war is no longer infinite. Today's sanctions strike at the few arteries still pumping cash into the Kremlin. As Starmer put it, every step we take to increase pressure on Russia and move closer to a just and lasting peace in Ukraine is a step towards security and prosperity in the UK. But it's not just about war in Ukraine. The Shadow Fleet poses a direct threat to British and European national security, not just economically, but environmentally. These ships are, in the government's words, decrepit and dangerous. They sail uninsured, avoid inspections, and often lack GPS tracking, making them a hazard to commercial shipping and undersea cables. Reckless seafaring by these vessels has already been linked to incidents affecting critical subsea infrastructure, the arteries of our energy system, internet connectivity, and financial communications. In sanctioning these ships, the UK is defending not just Ukrainian sovereignty, but its own energy security and digital lifelines. The action is also multilateral in nature. The UK is not acting alone. The Joint Expeditionary Force, a coalition of 10 northern European states, including Norway, the Netherlands, and the Baltics, is today announcing further coordinated support for Ukraine's war effort. The sanctions package sends a clear message. Putin cannot hide behind rusted hulls and offshore registries. And I think, frankly, this is probably one of the wiser sanctions efforts since the war began. I'm not a great fan of sanctions as a principle, but to remove or to stop damaging ships cruising through our shipping lanes is a positive. And this, as part of this broader strategy of economic containment, military cooperation, infrastructure protection, this could weaken the Kremlin's capacity to wage the war, as I was saying. So it's a valuable approach, and something that probably should have been done some time ago. Putin cannot hide. Britain and the Allies need to act swiftly, boldly, not just with rhetoric, but with enforcement, to safeguard European security, to uphold the rules-based order, and to ensure that Russian aggression doesn't pay. The Shadow Fleet may be murky, but the signal from Oslo today is crystalline. Economic subterfuge will not be tolerated, and the free world will no longer subsidize its the damage to the local environment and the threat to our countries. I think that's a reasonable position. These sanctions, unlike so many of the sanctions in the past, these sanctions are directly about defense.